What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Williams Today Show, episode 54 or 55. I don't know. First of all, we got up way too early this morning for an inspection out in Ortonville. It went really, really well. But we're from the downriver area. We do most of our business downriver.
Right.
This is more north, about an hour north from the downriver area. And we don't deal with septic tanks on a regular basis.
Right.
So our knowledge, you know, although we've learned and we took many classes on this, our knowledge, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. We retain some information here and there, but this specific property has a septic tank, and it's actually standing behind us. We're gonna have to get a close up. I'll get a picture and add it, but you can kind of see the manhole covers on top here.
Right.
But really, guys, we just want to have a conversation about septic tanks and some of the things that we just learned today. So maybe you could have some insight into it and things that you may want to pay attention to as a future home owner, or if you have a septic tank currently and you really don't know much about it.
Right.
We got the basics, right? We're not actual septic tank engineers, so we don't know everything about it, but we learned some really, really cool stuff that we wanted to share. Number one, obviously a septic tank is very different from a traditional city plumbing, I guess you can say.
Right.
Very different, because that just gets pumped out and the city deals with it. In this particular situation, a septic tank, it runs off of science. And I've never felt more nerdy than today talking about science, because it actually acts naturally. There's no chemicals added into it to help everything happen. It's all natural. So what happens is you have an inlet valve that it connects. There's a pipe that runs straight out of the house. In this situation, it runs directly from. You'll see that water meter is back there. It's not actually. It shouldn't be a water meter. No. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Hold on, let me check the camera and see if you guys have the visual there. Not really. Okay, so we're not going to really have too many ways to show this without panning in and out. But so it comes directly from outside of the house, and this is where all of your so your toilet water, your tub, your sink, everything that goes down your drains feeds directly through that tube. And what happens is it meets the tank, the septic tank itself, and the way it works, bacteria starts to build up, and you have your sludge at the bottom. I hate to say the word, but that's what it's called.
Best way to put it.
Sludge at the bottom, and this is all science, guys. Like I said, no chemicals added to this. So sludge, the bacteria grows and it separates each category. So you have sludge at the bottom. In the middle, you have the sewage, or the
liquid sewage, or it's called fluent.
Fluent?
Yeah, it's a fancy word for the liquid. Yeah, that's in there.
It keeps the conversation less shitty. Let's be 100% real. The liquid sewage, or the fluent, as Hannah would say, and then at the top of that is the scum. Now the scum can be anything that you're not supposed to put down. I guess it's not always not supposed to. Some people put their grease from cooking down that drain as well.
Right, down the toilet drain and stuff like that. But yeah, so it separates it because it's not supposed to be there, and they don't want it to go through the inlet or the outlet valves.
Right. So as soon as it comes in through the inlet, it separates it by science once again. The wind's blowing. I hope you can still hear us. But so the tube runs like this far into the water there. That way it keeps it separated and only allows the liquid sewage to go through. And when it goes through the drain field, which is there's like 4 or 5 of them, depends on the type of septic tank you have. And it actually, basically by science, takes it through, filters it, and then puts it back into the ground, and it is safe. Believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe that, but the system actually makes it so it goes back into the to the ground, into the groundwater. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, the groundwater.
And it's healthy, it's safe, and it's not back, and it just goes back into the earth. So it's really, really nice.
Right.
And but there are some pros and cons that I wanted to jump into really quick. I'm losing my train of thought here. So things to consider if you want to. I mean, if you want to live out in the rural areas, right? You have to weigh your pros and cons.
Right.
And septic tank is definitely one of those. The average cost to replace or to install a septic tank, if you have to gut it completely, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000, depending on the type of septic tank that you get.
Right.
This one behind us, wonderfully enough, is new engineered, and there's a lot more going into that I'm not going to dive into now. But it's new engineered, and it's great for the home buyer, right? This is why the inspection went so well. But average cost is $10,000 to $20,000 to have it cleaned out. On average, you want to go anywhere from 3 to 5 years, depending on your household size. So if you have 6 people living in your house, like for instance, that's what's going to be happening here. 6 people living in the house, you probably want to get it checked or inspected. I'd say every 2 years, just to see where you're at.
Right, just to make sure. But they also say that you don't want to clean it too frequently because you need that bacteria built up in there so that it breaks everything down and it works properly.
You let science do its thing. So if you continuously clean it out, that bacteria doesn't grow and allow it to work how it's supposed to.
Exactly.
So that's nice, but is it something that you want to deal with every 3 to 5 years?
Right.
So now you're saying, okay, that's nice, 3 to 5 years. So how much does it cost to have it emptied? $250 to $600, depending on the size of the tank and how far they have to haul your sewage out. So everything goes and it plays into that as well.
Right, exactly.
So things to consider, definitely.
Yeah,
there's pros and cons. You're away from the big city, right? You got your own little, you're like living off the land, so to speak.
Much, right?
And it's a nice little science experiment. And learning about this stuff was infatuating. I loved it. I love it. I think it's really cool. I think it can be a headache for some people that don't want to deal with it. I know Hannah's grandpa's cabin up north. We only go up there for what, one
like 2-3 weeks at a time at that.
Yeah,
like, and maybe 3 times a year.
Right.
So it's not used very often.
So if it's a vacation spot up north that you don't go to very often, then it's not as common as if you're living in the property itself.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like I don't. It's been probably about 10 years since we cleaned it out. We don't need to because it doesn't get used very often.
You're not living in it like 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You're only going up there.
People living there. Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. So I think I covered pretty much the basics of it. Average cost, and the drain field part was a big deal. Oh yeah, so in the you want to, and the big reason why you want to make sure it's continuously getting checked, maybe not completely cleaned out to allow that bacteria to do its thing, is because if that sewage, if the sludge actually gets up into those outlet valves, you can clog that up, and then that's where money starts to.
Yes, because then you'll have to completely redo your entire drain system for it.
Dig them up. So no dirty diapers, no baby wipes, no dental floss, none of that stuff.
Products,
no
especially
because that will cause a problem. You have to go
clog
through
it up
and individually those pipes that distribute the water out to clean it again. If those get clogged, big problem. So not only do you have a septic tank issue, you have to get that empty because it's way too full.
Right.
You have to dig that all up. So things to consider. Is it something you want to deal with? It just might be, but it's good for you to know, just in case.
Exactly.
So it's freezing cold out here, guys. We wanted to make this video as short as possible. As always, it costs
$0
and 0 cents to be a decent human being in this world. Be nice. Be like Hannah. Don't be like me. I have road rage still. I'm working on it. But happy inspection day. Happy buyers. Great inspectors. If you guys have any questions about septic tanks or the process of an inspection, reach out to us and we'll be glad to help you.
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.